Morning, dear students. Let us discuss about the chest X-rays. So basically, X-rays, what do they do? Like they describe like radiation, which is the part of spectrum, which includes visible light, gamma rays, and cosmic radiation. So unlike visible light, radiation passes through certain stuff. When you shine a beam of X-ray at a person and put a film on the other side of them, a shadow is produced of the inside of their body. So different tissues in our body observe X-rays at different extents. Bone, high absorption, hence on X-ray bones appear white in color. Tissues somewhere in the middle absorption, hence they appear gray in color. Air, low absorption, hence it appears black in color. Now, so you can see here, like this is the X-ray machine. You are finding the X-ray beam is being projected from behind. So the film quality first determine is the film whether it is posterior-anterior view or antero-posterior view. The posterior-anterior view, the X-rays penetrate through the back of the patient onto the film like this. The X-ray now, what you are seeing on the screen is this the posterior-anterior view. Okay, antero-posterior view, the X-rays penetrate through the front of the patient, like front of the patient onto the film. Okay. On this picture also you can see the positioning, that is the posterior anterior position, how the patient is standing in front of the machine and the X-rays will be penetrating from behind. Okay, so on the left is a simulated patient in a position for a standard posterior anterior chest X-ray. So on the right side of this slide you can see normal posterior anterior film. Okay, we will discuss this film as we proceed. Then this is the lateral view when you are allowing the position of the patient on the left. You are finding a simulated patient in position for lateral chest X-ray, and on the right we are finding a normal lateral chest film. Okay, then. So when reading patient's chest X-ray, you should look at both posterior, anterior and lateral films and hang them in this manner so that you can do a comparative study. So on the left we are seeing this PA view of chest X-ray, and on the right we are finding the lateral view of chest X-ray. Then when using comparison film, one should hang old like PA view, then new PA view, new lateral and old lateral in this way, then you can compare. Okay. So lateral positioning is obtained with the left chest against the cassette. This diminishes the effect of magnification on the heart. Looking carefully at the posterior aspect of the chest and the lateral view, which ribs are left and right, which is right or left hemidiaphragm, we will see. So this is the lateral positioning. Okay. Then posterior, anterior and lateral generally the films are read together to check if there is any like deformity. Now we can compare the normal two views what we usually take. This is the posterior anterior view and this is the antero posterior view. So posterior anterior position, note that X-ray tube is around 72 inches away from the patient. Like supine position, when the patient is lying down and you are allowing the X-rays to pass from front, you call it as antero-posterior view. The X-ray tube is 40 inches from the patient. So PA film, you can see this is on the left, posterior anterior view, this is an antero posterior view, supine film is on the right. So the AP is showing magnification of heart and widening of the mediastinum. So whenever possible, the patient should be imaged in an upright PA position only. AP views are less useful and should be reserved for very ill patients who cannot stand erect. The preferable position is posterior anterior position, not antero posterior position. Unless patient is sick, we should not go with antero posterior. We should always prefer posterior anterior position. Okay, that is PA view of chest. Always remember We prefer taking PA view because it gives good quality image. Let's go. The posterior-anterior view, the X-rays are penetrating through the back of the patient, and anterior-posterior view when X-rays are penetrating through the front of the patient onto the film. Now this is one chest X-ray which has been taken PA view, where you are finding the outline of heart. This is aorta, arch of aorta. It is called as aortic knuckle. This is diaphragm, right dome of diaphragm, left dome of diaphragm. Right dome of diaphragm is little higher because on the right side we have liver in the abdomen. Left dome of diaphragm is little lower because on the left side we have stomach. So the other things which we see in the chest X-ray are, you are finding two clavicles, we are finding the ribs, right? Then we are also finding, so these shadows, I told you medium intake absorption will take with soft tissues, hence this is actually the bronchial tree. Trachea in the midline, and this is the tree. So hence it is tracheobronchial tree showing the principal bronchus, secondary, tertiary bronchi. Whatever black in color is nothing but air which is seen inside the alveoli. Okay, so these are the borders of the heart, right border, left border, inferior border, and then this is the base of the heart. This is aortic knuckle. Okay, cardiophrenic angle is this. Cardio is heart and phrenic means diaphragm. Hence this is right cardiophrenic angle. This is left cardiophrenic angle. This is costophrenic angle. Okay. So costophrenic angle is seen at the corners of the X-ray. This is right costophrenic, but that means between the rib and diaphragm. Okay, we have the right costophrenic and left costophrenic angle. Okay, so this is PA view which is very clear, and this is AP view which is not so clear, and I have shown you just now the two comparative pictures. Okay, now so generally in X-ray what do we see? We see clavicle, we see the ribs, we see the outline of heart, we see the outline of the dome of the diaphragm. Below the right dome I said we have this liver. Okay, like that. Now, I hope you are ready now. So, look at the diaphragm. So, this is our diaphragm. Okay. So, this is the right dome and this is the left dome, and you should see the margins of diaphragms should be sharp. Okay. Then, so right hemidiaphragm is usually slightly higher than the left, which is normal. Then we have to check the heart. We should check for the size, shape, if there is any abnormality in the borders, which is called as Shilto margins. Okay, if it is deranged and if it is not sharp. Okay, you have to check for the diameter, which should be greater than half the thoracic diameter. Okay, so in enlarged heart, it is more. So remember, AP views make heart appear larger than it actually is. You can see this is the PA view which appears like so good, whereas this is the AP view where the heart is looking little larger than the normal like position. Now let us see a comparative study of a normal picture where you are finding, see what are the various things. Now if you see this as 4, so this is our corresponding 4, that means this is indicating superior vena cava. Okay, this number 1, this area is actually representing right atrium. So into the right atrium we have the opening of superior vena cava. You just come to this number 2, that means this area which indicates right ventricle. Right ventricle. Number 3 is apex of the heart, which is formed by the left ventricle. Apex of the heart. Okay, number 5th, below the diaphragm, here we have superior vena cava. Superior vena cava. Okay, sorry, inferior vena cava. This was superior vena cava and this is inferior vena cava, which also opens into the right atrium. Okay, then 6th position we have the tricuspid valve, that means this is the tricuspid valve. 7th position we have pulmonary trunk or the pulmonary valve. From there the pulmonary trunk comes. Ninth, see this is the 9th position, we have right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery. So 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th are actually continuous. This is pulmonary valve, this is pulmonary trunk, this is right pulmonary artery and this is left pulmonary artery. So please pause this slide so that you should be able to read all the labelings which are given here, okay, which shows the normal PA view of chest X-ray, posterior anterior view. Okay, so here in this X-ray you are finding loss of cardiac border. The normal cardiac border appears like this, right? Okay, very sharp. Whereas here you are finding the cardiac border is lost, and basically in a normal lung you are finding the bronchial tree has observed medium amount of X-ray, whereas you are finding here lot of X-ray absorption is shown. That means there is some underlying pathology. Okay, so that is consolidation means the heart, like the tracheobronchial tree has become hardened because of some infection like tuberculosis, bronchitis, bronchiectasis, some infections which will cause the solid, like lungs to become solid, you call it as consolidation. Okay, just to revise like what we have studied in our gross lectures, this is trachea, right principal bronchus, left principal bronchus. We have all this tracheobronchial tree, isn't it? Secondary bronchus, tertiary bronchus, bronchioles, then terminal bronchioles, we have respiratory bronchioles, we have, then we have the alveoli, isn't it? So we have bronchopulmonary segments which are 10 in number, on the right side 10 and on the left side 10. So we have to check for costophrenic angles. I said this is one costophrenic angle, this is one more costophrenic angle. Because this is normal PA view of chest X-ray, it is quite sharp. Our margins are quite sharp in this X-ray. Okay. So loss, can you see these are sharp now? No. So loss of sharp costophrenic angles show some pathology in the lung. Okay, this is the hilum of the lung. We have to check for hilar region. The hilum, the large blood vessels going to and from the lung. That means we will see the bronchial arteries, the pulmonary arteries, isn't it? So you will see at the root of the lung where it meets the heart. So this is the hilum. Check. We have to check for the size of aorta. I said this is aorta, and aortic knuckle. That is the arch of aorta. Okay, we have to check for lymph nodes also. We should also check if there are any enlarged blood vessels. This is normal hilum, okay, where we are finding the normal shadow of the blood vessels and the tracheobronchial tree. So here we are finding pulmonary vascular congestion. That means the right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery looks engorged. It is more filled with blood vessel. The cardiac border is deranged. Okay, overall the heart looks enlarged. This condition is cardiomegaly. Cardiomegaly. Finally, we have to check for the lung fields if there are any infiltrates, if there is any consolidation, solid form, that is actually infiltration. If there are any increased interstitial markings, that means more than normal markings are we finding. If there are any abnormal masses, absence of normal margins, we have to check. We have to check for air in the bronchogram. Okay, we have to check if there is any increased vascularity, like here if we are seeing like increased engorgement of these pulmonary arteries. Okay, so this is normal chest X-ray which you can compare. PA view, right border is very clear, left border is very clear, inferior border is very clear, base is very clear, hilar structures are also clear, aortic knuckle is clear, costophrenic angles are very sharp, cardiophrenic angle is sharp. So such is the normal X-ray, and if you just check, this looks so much abnormal, isn't it? So much of masses are seen, consolidation is seen, hilar structures are enlarged, pulmonary artery is engorged, right and left borders are exaggerated. Okay, so that is abnormal. So once you successfully read the normal X-ray, automatically you will appreciate how the abnormal X-rays are. Okay. So sometimes like wedge opacification you are finding elevating the right hilum. This is here you do not find any such opacity compare, but on the right side you are finding the opacity. Okay, because of which the right atrium is pulled like pushed a little above. Okay, then So loss of cardiac borders, you are finding consolidation, pulmonary vascular congestion, enlargement of the heart, you are finding collapsed lung here, absent vascular markings, the mediastinum is shifted onto the right, okay, because of the collapse of left lung. Okay, so this is the bone, what we see, full calcium is there in the bone, hence it absorbs the X-rays to the maximum extent. Bones are very dense, air is appearing like black in color. Basically inside cardiac muscle, we have blood that is nothing but water. So shadow is something like this. Okay, so this is, I hope you now you understand, this is AP view, antero-posterior view. I told you when we see it from antero-posterior aspect, when the patient is sick, we allow him to sleep on the like X-ray table, and then we take the X-ray film, like X-rays are allowed to pass from the front, then the size of the heart looks comparatively bigger. It is not an abnormality, but when you take AP view, in the chest X-ray, the heart looks comparatively bigger in size. You can see this is right lung. So much of consolidation is seen in the upper lobe. In the right lung, we have three lobes, right? So upper lobe, middle lobe, and the lower lobe. So upper lobe is completely consolidated here. Okay. So you can see this is an X-ray of a baby where so many tubes are inserted because there was some pathology. Okay, you are finding subclavian central venous catheter, ECG electrode, different catheters, nasogastric tube. Okay, here in this X-ray, the size of the right lung is so much reduced and so much of effusion is found, so much of fluid is collected in the pleural cavity. This can be a case of pleural effusion. You can see this is heart, which is like the border of the heart is also changed. Okay, hemothorax. If blood is full, you call it as hemothorax. If air is filled, you call it as pneumothorax. Okay, so different types of derangements we see in X-rays. About surface anatomy of thorax. So in the surface anatomy of thorax, what do we see? Let us talk about the bony things. We have sternum, then we have like in the mid like part of the thorax we have sternum, and on either side we have 12 pairs of ribs, right? Behind we have thoracic vertebrae numbered T1 to T12. Okay, so now let us see the approximate surface markings. See here, like what are the various surface markings we will see. T4 to T5, that means between third and fourth thoracic vertebra, we call it as angle of Lewis. We have taught you this when we were doing sternum bone also. I told you it is very important 3 marks question. So angle of Lewis is the point where we have bifurcation of trachea. Okay, at this point exactly. So we have bifurcation of trachea is shown here. Starting off aortic arch, you can see here azygous arch actually enters into the superior vena cava at this point. So that is between fourth and fifth thoracic vertebra we have angle of Lewis. Okay, then so we also have like certain fissures in the lung, isn't it? We have an horizontal and oblique fissure which divides the right lung into three lobes, and in the left lung we have an oblique fissure which divides the left lung into upper and the lower lobe, isn't it? So now when you see this yellow line, this actually shows the pleural reflection. Pleural reflection. So the pleura starts above the middle of the medial third of the clavicle. That means this is the clavicle bone. So from here you start. Okay. So correspondingly here we are starting. Okay. So meets at the second rib. You can just come now, and this is first rib and this is second rib. Comes like this and meets the second rib. Diverges at fourth rib. That means it is coming straight and then going behind. At fourth rib more than left more than right. Okay, then you see it is moving up to 10th rib in that direction. It is cutting 4th, 6th, 8th, and finally it is touching the 10th rib. You just come along this line. Okay, this I have explained in my pleura lecture also. You can just review there, pleural reflection. Okay, 8th rib. Then see here, in mid-axillary line. This plane, it goes in the mid-axillary line, and when you just come behind, it is coming up to the level of 12th rib posteriorly. Okay, the mnemonic is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Start the reflection at the medial, like third of the clavicle, come to the second rib, come straight to the fourth, then sixth, take a bend towards the lateral aspect and then move towards 10th, and from 10th go behind, allow it to touch to the lateral aspect of the vertebral column, and then draw a straight line and come back to the point of origin. Okay, so the pleural reflection on the left side, you will see because of the cardiac notch, it will be moving a little above, and then it is making a notch at fourth itself, and then it will be moving up to 6th, 8th and 10th. Okay, then so there is like if you see the outline of lung, so this violet colored line is actually shown the lower border of the lung, which usually will be 2 spaces less than pleura. That means if it is 8th space for the pleura, it will be 6th space for the lung. Okay, 2 spaces less than pleura below 6th rib is the lower border of both the lungs. Okay, then when you see the outline of heart, see the black shaded area, whatever we see here is actually the outline of heart. So the heart is we have to start giving this surface marking from the second left rib, this one, second left rib to third right rib, like this. Okay, so this makes the base of the heart. Okay, second left rib to third right rib. Then from here you draw one line from the third right rib to the sixth right rib. All this forms the right border of the heart. Right border of the heart. From here, from the sixth rib, you just draw your line towards the left side to the fifth intercostal space. Okay, in the mid clavicular line. So this joining point of the sixth rib of right side to the fifth intercostal space of the left side, this makes the inferior border of the heart, inferior border of the heart. And if you draw again one line which is moving from this fifth intercostal space, if you join back the second from where we have started, the second left rib, okay, on the parasternal line, this makes the left border of the heart, left border of the heart. Okay, so these are the borders of the heart. Base we have right border, inferior border, left border. Pause the video and read these points, you will definitely understand. Then we have oblique fissure, okay, which we see in the left lung. So spine of, we have to start the surface marking, spine of T3 posteriorly to 6th rib anteriorly. Okay, so that is, you have to keep the scapula in abducted position. Okay, then horizontal fissure, see this is the horizontal fissure you are finding here. Okay, so in this horizontal fissure, so you have to start from the fourth rib, okay, costal cartilage anteriorly, then it is moving almost up to the mid axillary line up to the eighth rib. So that is the horizontal fissure. Okay, so these are the surface markings of the heart. So similar surface markings now you can see here also. This picture just now I told you. See second to third rib. Okay, second rib of the left side to the third rib of the right side, it makes the upper border. I said it is like this. Second left rib to third right rib. So from third to sixth we have to make, isn't it? From third, fourth, fifth, sixth. If you join this line, it makes the right border. From sixth rib, if you just draw a line moving almost up to which I said it is moving up to the fifth intercostal space, which makes the inferior border. So inferior border. From there, if you join the line back to the second rib, that makes the left border. Okay, so this is the outline of the heart. You have to join these borders to create a surface marking of heart. Okay, and then you are finding certain valves. What are those? See, like you are finding, see this is the second rib, right? So this is third rib. So at the level of third rib, very close to the parasternal margin, on the left side we have the pulmonary valve. Below, immediately below which we have aortic valve. Okay, both are semilunar valves. Okay, then at the fourth rib, like on the parasternal margin again, okay, on the left side we have mitral valve. Okay, then if you just come down on the fifth rib, like in the middle of the like body of the sternum, like on the left, like if you just palpate there, we will be able to auscultate for the tricuspid valve. Okay, so these are the positions for pulmonary valve, aortic valve, mitral valve, and the tricuspid valve. Okay, so we have borders. This area is the apex of the heart. Okay, then these are the valves we have. Okay, so these are the various pulmonary, aortic, tricuspid, and mitral valve. Okay, just now I have told you. So pleura, already I told you, like this was also discussed. You better again go back to my pleura lecture. It becomes easy for you. Okay. So surface anatomy of pleura, anterior margin begins at the apex 1 inch above the medial 1/3 of the clavicle, descends behind the sternoclavicular joint, reaches the sternal angle, isn't it? This is the sternal angle. From B to C, C is the sternal angle, then descends at the fourth costal cartilage. The right pleura continues till sixth costal cartilage, then it takes a turn. Sixth, eighth, tenth, no? Like that. So whereas for the left pleura, it is taking a bend at fourth costal cartilage itself because we have cardiac notch over there, isn't it? Till it reaches the sixth costal cartilage. Rest of the journey is same for both. Okay, sixth, eighth, 10th, 12th. Sixth, eighth, 10th, 12th. Okay, that means when it goes behind, it touches the 12th vertebra, thoracic vertebra. So inferior margin, see this is the sixth costal cartilage, then it is moving up to 10th rib, then behind 12th thoracic vertebra. This is the inferior margin. So posterior margin is 12th thoracic vertebra upwards till the apex. Okay, so this is the surface anatomy of pleura. Then fissures we have, what are the two fissures we have? One is the oblique fissure and then we have horizontal fissure. Okay. So this is horizontal fissure and this is oblique fissure. On the left side we have only like oblique fissure. Okay. So oblique fissure is actually starting from the third thoracic spine to the sixth costal cartilage. Horizontal fissure is from the fourth costal cartilage till it meets the oblique fissure. Fourth costal cartilage till meeting point of the oblique fissure. Okay. So, so this is the surface anatomy of the bones of the thoracic cage. You can draw on the thin skinny person, like these are the clavicles you can feel in your own body, manubrium, body, and the xiphoid process. On either side we have the articulation of ribs. Okay, so that's all about the surface anatomy. So thank you.